start. Research, research methods. So today we are going to cover this business research methods. We'll start with some definition about business research, and then actually we'll go back to study some of the cases. So what is research? It's actually a process. It comes out from the French word rechercher, which means to search something thoroughly. If we look at the dictionary meaning of the word research, it means to search or investigate exhaustively. These are actually studious enquiries or examination, especially investigation or experimentation, aimed at the discovery and interpretation of facts. So discovery of facts and interpretation of facts, two sides. So some things remains hidden which are to be explored. Revision of accepted theories or laws in the light of new facts. Now the world is changing, and the theories and laws also might require changes with time. So this is actually another aspect of research, or practical applications of such theories and laws. So some applied areas, some theories and laws might all be existing, but its application in new field could be seen. For example, in the video uploaded last week, we have seen that there was a uh, the particular professor who actually started with the focus group interviews, actually hired it from Freudian theory, and he started to explain the consumer behavior from Freudian theory. Professor Driche actually did this. So what he did, that already there was an established theory which of Freud explaining human psychology. So what he used this theory, and with the help of this theory, he tried to explain the consumer behavior. That means the existing theory was applied in some new area, and this is also a type of research. We generally called it applied research, where actually research is used at some other location, and then for which it is been made. It is about collection of information about a particular subject. So all these things in combination, sometimes in unison separately, or sometimes in working in unison together, they actually make up for the modern research. Now let us concentrate on business research, that how business research is different from the other type of research that we generally see that other people do. Let us look at a definition of business research. This is a systematic and objective identification of information, collection of such information, their analysis and interpretation, leading to identification of a problem or their prospective solution. Use of this finding for the purpose of assisting management for decision making related to business issues. Now, first is that today's business is actually generating a lot of information. This information might be in the form of a situation, might be in the form of data, might be in the form of some content. These information are stored. Earlier, the storing of information was really a difficult task. But these days, with the availability of different types of not only numerical information, but different types of other devices, like say most of the stores have inbuilt CCTV camera. In CCTV camera, basically it is fitted so that the stealing can be restricted, because wherever you go, there will be a CCTV camera following you. You are under the jurisdiction a camera or the other. So it is very difficult to pick up things from the store. And also there are other different guards, that is RFID and other things are there, which are attached to the product, so that if you want to get it through, you will get caught electronically also, and there will be some person manually checking as well. This is one side. This is one security aspect is there. But in addition to that, when CC camera is there, it can also actually record and keep in store what is the how people behave in the store. I am not speaking about the unethical issues like lifting from the shop or stealing from the shop. I am speaking about a consumer. He goes to a particular store, enters into the arena where he is searching for something. Now he sees something which he wants to buy. He picks it up, looks at its price. If price is high, he puts it down. Now this thing is getting recorded. It will never come in the form of numerical data, but this comes as a content. That some things maybe that he goes to purchase a particular biscuit, maybe say marigold biscuit, but along with that he also looks about other options that are available in and around. For example, one study I found that they kept uh, beer near the child diapers, beer near the child diapers. The theory was like that. Generally, it looks a very awkward combination, that beer and corresponding to a child diaper. Then the explanation was like this, that many a time men do the marketing. Means their wife tell that, okay, these are the things that are required. They just rush up, they come to the and they go to purchase child these diapers and all. Along with that, there is beer and some other semi-hard drinks are there, because they most of them, means it is in Western study in a Western country where most of them drink, means that is a regular practice. So what happens when they pick up this diaper? They also this actually attracts, creates unnecessary demand. That suddenly supply creates its own demand, somewhat like that. There is a supply of, suddenly you visited to pick up a diaper and then by the side of it there is all drinking options. So just there is a huge supply or huge display, you look at it and get attracted and pick some more bottles of beer which you are not supposed to pick, means maybe that it was not there in the list. So such types of studies actually come out of the content that is being analyzed through the video. So this is a collection of information in a very systematic manner. This has been done. This information collected is actually analyzed and then will lead to interpretation. Now, this interpretation actually either gives birth to a problem or it gives birth to a solution. That you solution in a sense that you know that this is the way things are going on. Okay, then people are actually not. Then you see, suppose you have a video, you see that people are having a trend of picking up smaller packets, even of those things which are consumed at bigger amount. Smaller packet, that means there is a jumbo pack, they are not picking up the jumbo pack, they are picking up small units of that particular product. So you understand that whichever things are in the jumbo pack, they also need to be in smaller packets, so that some people may not want to expose the entire jumbo pack to moisture by opening the lid, so they are actually preferring to purchase small. Also small things price less, though in totality you have to pay more, but in if small units you have to pay less. If you purchase two small units of a particular noodles instead of buying the jumbo pack, those two small units together you have to pay less. But maybe that the jumbo pack contents has a content of 10 small packets. Now if you purchase 10 small packets separately, then you have to pay more than the jumbo pack. So some people purchase jumbo pack because there may be a requirement of a lot of people in their home, or might be running a hostel or a shop, so they might prefer to purchase jumbo packs. Other than that, regular customers might be preferring smaller pack sizes. So these actually comes out of the content that has been recorded in the video. All studies are not subjected from surveys which are conducted through a questionnaire or schedule, as we have discussed during the method of collecting primary data. Now, when we lead lead to the identification of a problem or a perspective solution. So either we go for a solution understanding the thing, or we see at a problem that there is a problem while this is not being done. We cannot understand why this is happening, but there is a type of problem which may be further researchable. Use of such findings for the purpose of assisting management and decision making related to business issues. That means when you collect the data, you analyze the data, reach to a conclusion that actually in other studies we stop here, that okay, this is the area and this is what is to be done. Okay, these are the findings of my study. But business research generally goes a step further in the sense that these findings are at once used for decision making in business. So that's the complete cycle of business research. Now, exact definition of business research may be placed in this way. Business research is the systematic and objective identification, collection, analysis, discrimination, and use of information for the purpose of improving decision making related to the identification and solutions of problem and opportunities in business. So this is the whole area that we start with the identification, collection of data. We analyze the data, we classify the data into different groups or categories, and ultimately after working with the data we reach to some information. This information is further used for the purpose of decision making, either to identify a problem or as solution to a problem. And this increases the opportunities of extending our arm in business. So this is the round full definition of business research. Any questions at this stage? I can take some questions. Okay. So we have to, as per our definition, we have understood that the outcome of the business research is that either we, at the end of the business research, we either reach to a problem or reach to a solution. So based on that, we can classify the research as problem identification research and problem solving research. In problem solving research, we have already the problem we have. We know the problem. Now we are to solve this problem. We want to do a research in order to collect some information, analyze them and reach to the solution of the problem. Or we try to find out that what is the actually problem lying in this particular type of study. So we have problem identification research. So problem identification research and problem solving research. In problem identification research is that type of research which is undertaken to identify the problems that are not necessarily apparent on the surface and yet exists or are likely to arise in the future. So these are some perspective problems, in search of some perspective problems which might come up in future. So this is one problem identification research. In problem solving research, we have research that is undertaken to solve specific existing problems or those which may surface in future. So generally this deals with some existing problems and some problems which we are sure will come into existence. Okay, for example, the population of a particular place is increasing due to some localized industries. Suddenly, an industry gets localized. People are coming around. Now, currently people are coming around good. They are building homes. They are staying happily. So, as such, there is no problem. But this growth of population in a particular place, sudden growth of population in a particular place might bring in some problem in near future. This problem may be a business related problem, this may be problem related to environment, this may be problem related to demography, etc. So this type of things where problem is identified through problem identification research. The nature of business and management research. Yes, please.
Sir, I have got a question. Sir, can you move to the previous slide?
Yes, please.
So for this problem solving research, sir, for that, sir, we will be taking, who will be the focus group? I mean, those who have given feedback or just will go on in the market?
No, yeah, problem solving research means already there may be as a business house. The business house may suddenly find that their sale is going down or their profit levels are going down. So this is already a problem for them. Now they want to find out that what shall we do or why the sale is suddenly going down. And if, since the sale is going down, what exactly shall we do? So that is a problem solving research. Okay. Okay. And problem identification research means currently there is some problem which is in latent which cannot be seen. But in due course of time, because actually we speak about sustainable development. So business also requires a sustainable growth, that you cannot grow your business without taking into consideration the sustainability. So such studies comes under problem identification research, that if I start expanding my industry, expanding my business, or spread my business in diverse fields. Some companies are there, you must have seen, they are expanding their business in diverse fields. For example, Tata, you must have seen that they basically started with steel, then they have expanded in different fields. Now, if they expand these in different fields, then what are the problems that may arise, or what are the issues that may come, which is it possible to encounter some of these issues before they are actually in that field. So this is actually problem identification research. You might be knowing in the last year, Tata took up this one, Air India. Now, Air India it was a loss running project for the government of India. Government of India, instead of to the best of their ability, they tried but could not keep Air India going because of several other reasons. But then, but then now Tata must have thought that okay, let us explore the possibility of taking up Air India because Tata is already into airline industry. So with other players are there. So whether taking up Air India, now this decision was means obviously it was surveyed that whether this can be turned into a profit running organization. So because they since they have taken it up, definitely they have seen that there are a lot of scope of profit in Air India. Because when they took up, they told at the very first press conference that we are not going to penalize any employee of the organization, that there will be no job cut. That means they are going to take the burden of the huge number of employees, and number of flights are decreasing like anything in Air India. So these are some of the problems they need to find out, that if we take it up, what are the problems that will come. Today we have not taken it up, the problems are not there. But tomorrow when I take up, there will be many problems. So these type of studies come under problem identification research. Okay. Now there are three things which combine to make business and management a focus for research. First one is that the managers draws knowledge developed from other disciplines. Actually, business research, this area of research is actually does not have its own theories. You will find that the theories of business research are actually developed in other subjects like in economics, like in philosophy or human psychology, or in embedded in criminology, or in some other, maybe in some theories of commerce. These are hired to build the theoretical base of business research, because all the subjects that we have studied other than this business research are actually developed for its own purpose. History has its own purpose. History can survive for history's sake. Mathematics has its own theories. Physics has its own theories. But management does not have its own theories. It has to rely on the theories of others. So basically, philosophy is an area in which human psychology, criminology, these are some areas where many theories of marketing research are drawn. Managers tend to be busy people. They are unlikely to allow research unless they can see professional or commercial advantages. You will find that most of the organizations, business organizations, they have an R&D unit, research and development unit. I think your organization also has an R&D unit, research and development. So actually they do different types of research, that how the product produced can be improved, how the price can be minimized, how things can be made available better quality and higher price, or how this thing can be marketed in a better way, how people can know about the product. So these are all different activities. So you will find that the outcome of this research and development units are actually in a way helping in the decision making of this industry or organization. Basic purpose is decision. Now, in the process of decision making or research, several other subsidized things might be coming out. Means complementary findings might be reached. These complementary findings might not be directly of use to business research, but it might be used of in some other way, or some other big theories might be developed from of some other subject in the process of business research, might not directly participate in decision making. For example, those who have little bit exposure to statistics, I tell you that you must have heard, there is a test called a student's t-test. Student's t-test. Now this is a very interesting, this person who developed student's t-test, no student developed it. It was not developed by any student. It was developed by an engineer. His name was W.S. Gossett. William Somerset Gossett. Now what he did is that he actually used to work in Bell Telephone Laboratories. But this particular organization, Bell Telephone Laboratories, did not allow the research findings to be published. Did not allow the research findings to be published. He was working in the R&D cell of that particular organization. Now, he developed a particular test which works for small samples. Prior to his invention, it was believed that statistical tests can be performed on large samples. He was the first person to tell that it can be developed for small samples. Problem was that when he reached the result, he could not publish it in any scientific journal because of this clause of the company that you cannot publish your research findings anywhere else. So he took a pen name student and get it published. And so the test became very popular as student's test. Many of the people don't know that it is developed by W.S. Gossett. Means the inventor became unknown because of this. So this test was nothing to do with the developmental wing. It was just definitely it helped statistics in a number of ways, and that way it helped some business decision making also. So that is a secondary thing that that test is often used even in our course. Also, we'll have this particular statistical test. We'll have to study it later. But the thing is that that directly did not use in the research and development of that company. So many such important findings of other subjects also get developed in the R&D cells of different organizations, which is basically to help the management in decision making. So the manager wants to see that this research and development wing actually gives some commercial advantage to the company, and the research must have some practical consequences. So the finding should be such that it can be applied in practice. It can be applied in practice. It has some way in which it can be has a possibility of application. Otherwise, reaching to some result which is impossible to implement, this does not might not need to some practical consequences. Now, theory and practice. It is generally held that business research should complete a virtuous circle of theory and practice. So, there should be some theory, and the outcome of the study should also be applied in some places. Business and management research needs to engage both the world of theory and the world of practice. For example, in mathematics, you must have heard that there is one area which is called as pure mathematics, or some people call it abstract mathematics. Now, in abstract mathematics, you will find that it has no relation with reality. It has no relation with reality. It is doing some working on some sets and all these things, and that is going on in that way, not in touch with reality. But a lot of research is going on. Topology uh, is one area under this abstract mathematics, that there are a lot of research is going on. Research is going on some imaginary things which does not exist in reality, but there are a lot of mathematical theories on those imaginary areas. But it survives because mathematics can survive for mathematics sake, that it is having a extended doing in mathematics. So I am studying abstract mathematics or abstract algebra. But this type of theory, means this type of statements will not exist in a business research. You cannot tell that I am doing business research for the sake of doing research. Whatever research you do in the arena of business, it should some way give a benefit to the business towards its development, and should have some connection with the world of practice. So the world of theory and the world of practice in case of business research should be very close to each other. Now in abstract algebra also, now they are finding some applications. Like one study I read that they used abstract algebra for explaining weather change, explaining weather change. So this is so this way in which actually different research some way try to find the applied area, but in business research this should be very stringent, and all the studies, all the theories should be very strictly restricted or strictly connected to the area of business, to the area of business decision making. Now let us understand this with the help of two case studies. So first is the case study. It is a case study, not a very recent case study though. It is some at the beginning of say this century. This was a case study of Boeing, manufacturer of commercial jet lines for more than 50 years. They are making commercial planes. There are 13,000 jetliners of 145 countries who are using the product from this particular Boeing company. Boeing Commercial Airplanes, which is popularly called as BCA, develops and sells airplanes. Players are very few, but competition is intense. This is called as, in economics, this is called as oligopoly. Means in this particular business, that is manufacturing of a airliner, there are few participants. That means there are few companies which are manufacturing airliners, and whichever companies are manufacturing airliners, they are in very stiff competition against each other. Because very few players, but not monopoly. Monopoly means only one player is there, but there are few players, but with stiff competition, and that is called as oligopoly. So you understand that everyone wants to get success uh, over the other. I think by mistake someone's mic has got switched on. Uh, in case you, thank you. To understand the need and priorities of customers in that dynamic marketplace, the Boeing commercial airplane employs Harris Interactive to perform market research on a regular basis. So to understand what are the priorities of the customers, because here you see someone is producing, someone is buying, but it is used by someone else. That is, the consumer is the passenger who travel. It is purchased by the company, say Indigo. Indigo purchases a flight from Boeing. So Boeing is the producer. Purchaser or customer is Indigo, and user is the passengers like you and me. So you understand the uh, transition. Now, Harris Interactive. This is a market research firm of USA, a big research firm which do all types of research. They have all big clients. So they actually regularly employ Harris Interactive to perform different types of market survey in order to understand the preference of the customers. Here, both the parties purchasing the flight and the ordinary passengers are taken into consideration by Harris Interactive to draw the survey. Okay. So this is the logo of Harris Interactive, and they do a survey which they call as Harris poll. Okay. Now the Harris poll was performed. Whenever they do a survey, they call it a Harris poll. Harris Interactive. Those they surveyed 913 persons were interviewed in UK, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. All travelers of age 18 plus years were taken, who had taken at least one international flight of travel time more than 8 hours or longer between November 2003 to February 2004. So we get an idea about the time in which the survey was conducted. The survey was conducted in 2003-4, and all 18 plus, all not all, 913 people who were caught at UK, Tokyo, and Hong Kong airports. Different airports of UK, Hong Kong, and Tokyo were actually interviewed. All of them were of 18 plus years and has taken at least one international travel of more than 8 hours. Now, summary of the findings were as follows. Travelers taking long flight generally prefer smaller sized planes because of its convenience and flexible experience. Most travelers prefer non-stop flights. Okay, so these are the main findings of this. They preferred smaller size flights because when people travel for more than 8 hours or more than 8 hours, for example, if you go from New Delhi to say New York, you will find that it takes around for non-stop flights takes around 14 hours. So if it is something like more, mm, mm, so like if you take a break in between, some flights go from Delhi to Dubai or somewhere in say Europe, Delhi to Heathrow. From Heathrow you change flight and then you uh, uh, go to US, New York. So if you take a break, then obviously the hours increases. It is more than that. Now, when people travel such a long distance, they means many flights you see they are huge in size. They take around more than 300 people at one go. So you travel from New Delhi to say New York, and 300 people are there in flight. When you come down from the flight, you find that a huge crowd of flight and most importantly, a huge crowd of luggage in the conveying belt. Very difficult to trace your luggage. You wait hours there. Means not uh, to be taken literally, means you spend hours there to get your own luggage. And then there is also another problem of getting your luggage changed, because many luggages have the same color unless and until you properly check it out. Anyways, so after that, then you come out, then you find that the place is difficult to get a vehicle. These things means increases all the flight saving. Instead, if it is a 120 passenger flight with 120 passengers, then things are actually, everything is divided into half of the time. Half of the time you require to come out of the flight. If it is 300 plus so many people, if it is 120, you can get down from the flight quickly. Boarding is also easier. Luggage dispatch is also relatively less time will be required. And then you have traveled such a long hour, so you need to take rest, and obviously the uh, jet lag is there to disturb you for at least 2 days. So that's the reason why we actually prefer, means people start preferring smaller flights and non-stop flights. Now, non-stop flights means there are two reasons of non-stop. One is that, okay, people change the flights, and another thing is the flight has to take fuel. Now, if the flight is a very big flight, then fuel requirement is also more. So in that case, could not run for a huge distance, has to stop somewhere to take the fuel. So that is a, and when once they stop, they don't just take the fuel, they actually take up some new passengers and throw away some existing passengers who at this destination. So this goes on. Now, based on this outcome, what are the actions that were taken by BCA, that is Boeing? They, what they did is that survey report made several changes in their product. For long distance flight, earlier they used to promote the 550 passenger double decker flight. So for long distance flight, they used to prefer their, tell their clients, the customers, that you take a like this a double decker flight, and you have must have seen some double decker flights which is a very huge collection of people. It can go up to 550. That was the maximum size by Boeing company. Now they actually stopped those, and now they introduce some new members of Boeing, the 737 family, that is Boeing 737-600, Boeing 737-700, Boeing 737-800, and Boeing 737-900. So these are some new models under Boeing 737 category, and this is one, as you can see, this is one Boeing 737 category flight. This flight in the middle, that is I think it is so this has a sitting capacity of 100 to 125. So they have minimized some, say from 550 they have made it less than half, 100 to 250 215 capacity with fuel intake capacity that can support non-stop flight. So what they did, they decreased the number of seats but increased the fuel taking capability. So long flights, long duration flights did not have to stop for the purpose of taking fuel. Fuel is sufficient. Now, if the airline wants that, okay, we will take 3-4 hopping before reaching New York, that is their own decision. But technically, they could take more amount of fuel and fly for longer distances for long time duration. So that was the action taken by the BCA. And what happened after that? This decision was in keeping with the market demand. Soon 737 family got orders from more than 5,200 airliners in the next 3 years. So they get so many orders, 5,200 orders instantly from different airliners throughout the world. This was an amazing feat and happened never before even for Boeing. So this Boeing broke its own record. So that was a story of how Boeing capitalized on this. This story is taken from the book Marketing Research and Applied Orientation. So marketing research and applied orientation, Indian edition is available. I think I showed you also in the other class that this marketing research and applied orientation by Malhotra and Das. So marketing research and applied orientation by Malhotra and Das. So please, you need to have it as a. And this gave birth to Skion, the offsprings of an illustrious family. That is the tagline they used for the particular car model of Skion. To build the brand, Toyota hired the services of Etic, a famous marketing firm. They conducted qualitative as well as quantitative research in case, and the findings of Generation Y, that is young generation Y crowd, valued individuality and expression, diversity and style. So they wanted diversity, they wanted style, they wanted an expression, and they wanted an individuality in the car. So these things were all clubbed together, and that gave birth to the new product, that is Skion, the offsprings of an illustrious family. Here the illustrious family means Toyota. So the offsprings means small child. So offsprings, next generation. So this is nothing but a new generation car from Toyota. The decision of this survey was not to use traditional channels of marketing like television and magazines. That is actually ethics suggested. Ethics suggested to Toyota company that you don't use the traditional ways of marketing this car, like hoardings, newspaper advertisement, then giving advertisement in the magazines, which are actually complementarily supplied to the people who are riding, who are in the riding, taking a flight. Generally, you will find that in the flight, in the side pocket, there is some uh, complimentary magazine of that particular airliner, where some very expensive goods like flats, like cars, these are being advertised. So these are the traditional channels. Instead, they use some guerrilla techniques, like in live concert. In the when live concerts are going on, in the live concert, in the stage itself, they used to put the car, that is Kion car, and the illustrious offspring of the uh, what is that, offspring of an illustrious family, that is the Skion car was placed in this. In 2003, Skion was made available for sale. So for some days it was advertised thoroughly using some guerrilla technique. Guerrilla technique means those technique of advertisement in which you don't know that the thing is advertised, but some way the thing is put before you, and your interest in that particular product increases. So that is a guerrilla technique of advertising. So that was used. In 2003, Skion was available for sale. They were in three different models were made available simultaneously. Skion XB was the leading with a lot of sports features. Skion cars contained 160-watt stereo, cell phone holders, push seat, and several other customized options. So these were some things you see in 2003. These were really very advanced features, like cell phone chargers, cell phone holders, 160-watt stereo, pushback, and other things, safety features, and other things were there, which were some advanced, considered to be very advanced in motor technology at that particular time. And these are the photographs. One is the front view, one is the side view of Skion cars. Almost 1 lakh Skion cars were sold in 2004. More than 90% Skion owners never purchased a Toyota car before. So these are some new people. 90% people were those who were actually buying, coming under the umbrella of Toyota for the first time, because this was obvious to happen, because the Skion cars were made for young generation. The pattern was like this, that it had all features that the youth wanted, and so this was some new people who were actually young, earlier used some other cars, actually abandoned their previous editions, and came up with purchasing the Skion car, with 90% of them uh, new customers to the Toyota family. The median age of Skion owners was 34. So that is very interesting. That gives, because by this time, actually at the end of 25 and all, people get employed in USA. All people get employed. So 34 years, 8 9 years, because car is a very important requirement in US. I mean, go without that, because public transport is not almost negligible in USA. So everyone needs to have a car. So it should have been even less, I thought. Anyways, which was much less than the mean age of Toyota 49 and Lexus, that is also a Toyota car. That is a luxurious car, 54. Average age was 54. Because Toyota is a highly priced car. So this median age of this is 49 and 54. So Skion car, that was the car of the new generation. And this is how Toyota actually captured a new market. So we see that most of the important business decisions are actually a benefit of some marketing agency doing some business research in and around that product in order to take to some decisions. So here both the, especially means the Skion cars, we have found that the Toyota has explored a new customer base with the new model of the car, and with the help of Harris Poll, Boeing has increased their sale to a greater extent. because of the new flight models that they develop. So these were two examples to be discussed today. Okay, if you don't have any question, can we wind up for the day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you for listening. If you have some questions, you may ask now.